Welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning on Channels Television, and in the past couple of minutes we've been looking at microfinancing in Nigeria, and I've been speaking to a microfinance operator, Dele Oyekanmi. Thank you so much for staying with us.
Thank you very much.
Well, just before we went on that break, we were talking about getting funds, either for the lender and for the person who's lending. Now, you said that because you have to pay a high interest rate to the commercial banks you get these funds from, you also have to give the burden or share the burden with the customers, so to speak. Now, we know for a certainty that a microfinance credit fund was supposed to have been put together by the banks and the state governments. What's the status of it right now?
Well, there are various stages. One is that of federal government. That's one for the states. And we have the one from the banks with CBN. The one from the banks, which were held by CBN, is what we have been talking about, that we made available for us this year. CBN has actually promised to bring out the guideline for the implementation of this scheme by August or thereabout, August, September. So we believe that will be on this year by the grace of God. Now, for the states, every state in Nigeria is supposed to have 1% of their budget set aside for microfinancing. I'm aware Lagos State has that fund, and that's why they have LASME, Lagos State Microfinance Institution. We're housing that fund, and they expect to pass it to microfinance and assist the grassroots people, the active point society, to actually grow the economy. LASME, we are currently partnering with LASME. We are in discussions with them at the association level. And I believe again that may equally come out fruitful this year.
So what's the status?
The state that we are not getting, we have not gotten that fund yet. As operators, I can tell you very authoritatively, we have not got that fund, but there's hope that we'll get it. I'm equally aware that River State has that fund. They've set aside that money. The same thing with Niger. Niger has actually helped, has assisted some microfinance banks in the state. My Niger State is on record that they have assisted microfinance banks in the state to, improve their business. But we need to encourage more states in the country to do that. Because if the aim of governance is to reach out to the people, and you have a scheme in play that be set up by the same government to execute this agenda, I think they should have trust in us. Release that money so that we can actually reach out to the people that they are meant to govern.
Might it be that they think that the people who are running these banks as the management, might it be that they think that these people are siphoning the money for their own personal purposes? Because we've had issues like that where managers and CEOs of microfinance banks have actually siphoned the funds for themselves and not made it available. So it actually puts a dampener on these people who are supposed to be facilitating these funds.
No, let me tell you something. In any gathering, you cannot have 100% perfection. There will be some, bad eggs among the group. Even the commercial banks, it's not limited to Nigeria. Anywhere in the world, you cannot have 100% well-behaved population. It's not possible. Some, as we sit down, some will just believe that I can't sit down facing this way. I want to face the side. But you say, no, that's not the norm here. So that's what I want to do.
So how do you check the norm? What are the checks and balances to check that norm?
We have the regulators, the CBN, the NDIC, come readily to look at our books. Apart from that, the association again has taken it upon itself now. The National Association of Microfinance Banks in Nigeria are taking it upon itself to equally monitor the banks, to monitor our members by looking at the returns. We are saying they should be sending returns to us. We send monthly return to CBN, to NDIC, and this is what these social people are not doing. So what people are saying is that microfinance banking business in Nigeria is even over-regulated. The problem is not that of regulation. The problem is that of funding. When you say some people are taking money, I would not say no completely. Because, in any group, like I just said, we must have some bad eggs. But if you have, out of 100, you have 5 bad eggs, you cannot say the entire eggs should be condemned. No, that would not be fair.
Well, we know that one of the policies being put forward by the Central Bank of Nigeria is the recapitalization of MFPs. We have close to 150 MFPs in Nigeria at the moment?
No.
We have less than that.
Over 800.
We have 800.
Yeah, we have about 200 in Lagos.
200 in Lagos.
Yes, in Lagos, yes.
How ready are the operators for this recapitalization? Bearing in mind that the regulator, central bank, actually said the banks should, that's the microfinance banks, should recapitalize by December of last year. But the operators appealed to the regulator for it to be extended by 1 year. Now it's been extended till the end of this year. Are the operators ready to be recapitalized?
Well, it's not a question of choice. It's a question of compulsion. You must be ready. If you are either ready and remain and stay in, or you are not ready, you are out. You know, so it's not contestable any longer to say, oh, we are not ready. We must be ready. You know, anybody who is not ready, we have to be out of the scheme. And that is why at the institution level we are canvassing. Even the CBN too is doing that now. Everybody is doing it because the aim of everybody is that this industry must succeed. We are canvassing now various options for our colleagues in the scheme, in the system. We are encouraging them to go into merger and acquisition scheme. You know, if your house is not big enough to stand alone, reach out to your neighbor, match with another bank so that you can remain in existence. Or let another bank acquire you if you know that your scheme, your house is not big enough to withstand merger with another bank. You can be acquired, and that will give the investors in that bank leverage to say at least we have our money not eroded completely. You know, so we are working on all this to make sure that no bank actually goes down. This year.
So now looking at the criteria that was put before these operators by the regulator at a unit level, that's if you want to stay in the state and maybe remain in a particular local government, you're supposed to have a minimum capital base of 20 million naira. At the state category, your ability to operate 100 million, and at the national level, 2 billion.
2 billion
is this enough?
Enough as capital?
The benchmark?
Yeah, it is enough.
Or should have been higher?
No, I think it's enough. I think it's okay. It's okay because we discussed it. This one was not just imposed on us. We had dialogue with CBN, and we agreed on it. You know, it was a tortuous journey before we reached that agreement. Let us see. The only aspect that we are adding, which we are pushing to CBN, is that instead of making the 20 million license a unit license, make it a local government license. That whoever has this license can operate within a local government. I mean, in Nigeria, even under the federal structure, we have the federal government, we have the state government, and local government. We are saying, okay, let us have it down that way too. That if you want to operate at national level, which means you want to be the big brother, you must have 2 billion naira. If you say, I want to operate within the state, which means you can operate, you can have branches within anywhere in the state, you have 100 million naira. Then let's come to local government. That okay, if you can operate within a local government in the state, then you must have 20 million. But CBN is saying, no, just one unit. So we are canvassing for local government. That's what the assurance is pleading for with CBN now.
Now let's look at how microfinance banks can actually drive the CBN's financial inclusion strategy in terms of how they can readily affect how things play out in the financial system.
Yeah. In fact, fantastic. Microfinance banks are the best instrument to be used by federal government, by state government, by CBN, anybody that has anything to do with the grassroots people. You know, I just told you, all the commercial banks together attend to less than 20% of the population in this country. And what is 20% of 160 million?
Over 160 million,
so,
actually.
Yeah, so it means that we have well over 100 million naira, 100 million people unattended to. And these microfinance banks are the agents of transformation that can be used to reach out to these people. What can we put forward? It's the best scheme ever, you know, and that's why we're encouraging people. You know, let more people come into it. If I believe personally that we've not had enough microfinance banks because we have larger concentration of it in Lagos. We have about 200 in Lagos, out of about 850 we have in the country. You know, so other states need to embrace it. You know, other states need to embrace it. The other states need to get there and open more microfinance, but let people come here and put more microfinance so that the rural people can be attended to. You know, every village in the country should even have microfinance bank. Every village.
But you know, it takes infrastructure to run all of this.
You know, you don't need. We say what I think I remember that you don't need a gigantic structure.
But then you need light.
You need light
to power your machines, to count the money and compute and all the rest.
Yes, madam. Let me tell you. You see, microfinancing, the way it is run elsewhere, you go to Bangladesh where it was really transformed. You don't need that kind of big structure. You don't need that kind of generator that you're talking about. The one the Babas use is enough for you to run it. And where I call it discussion with CBA that, look, let us limit level of capitalization we are talking about, so that people can come in easily and run it. You need small generator you can buy for about 10,000 naira, 13,000 naira, 15,000. It's enough just to give light, 1 point or 2 point light in the place. You don't need to put a gigantic structure there. But the problem we have with those who started it, when the scheme started in Nigeria, is that they were competing with commercial banks in terms of structure, asset acquisition. And so you see them starting the bank with about 500 million naira, and everything had gone into asset acquisition. Nothing for the people. You know, so many of them are in place there, they don't have working capital. It's a problem. But that's not the way to run a microfinance bank. The most important thing for you is working capital.
Now, going forward, how can this subsector be grown? How can this subsector grow to achieve its pride of place?
Well, collaboration. The ultimate. There must be collaboration between the operators, among the operators, the regulators, and the government. Everybody must take it as a challenge, as a vehicle of transformation that can actually be used to transform the economy. It's the best instrument we have available for us to use in this country. You know, where the active people in the society, the active people in society can actually be attended to. With 20,000 naira loan, you can imagine if you have 100 million naira and you are giving it at 50,000 naira maximum to people, imagine how many people you reach out to. But if one person will just take 100 million naira and go away, you know, a lot of people will benefit. I just told you about the people selling oranges on the, you know, how much of it? Just ask yourself. Pure water, such water there, it needs less than 500 naira. Everything is carried on the head. It's about less than 200 naira. You buy the water, 100 naira, ice block, 20 naira. If you can buy two packets of water, that's 200 naira. Ice block of 40 naira. That's 240 naira capital. But nobody to give him or her that kind of money. That's the problem. So they walk into our office and they sign register, collect the money, and in the evening they come and pay back. 1 week, 1 month. We collect, they pay back regularly on daily basis, they make their payment. And they're happy, they're in business.
So there is a place for microfinance banking in Nigeria. After all, thank you so much, Dele Oyekanmi, for speaking with us today.
Thank you for having
on
me.
The program. Well, I've been speaking to a microfinance banking operator and is also the managing director, chief executive officer of MoneyWise Microfinance Bank, Dele Oyekanmi, and we've been looking at microfinance banking in Nigeria.